today is really a top environmental priority. It's about protecting our air quality. I want to thank Senator Fenberg, Representative Jackson, and Representative Carveo for their tireless commitment in getting this bill through, especially considering the impacts of COVID-19. I also want to thank Jill Ryan for her leadership on this important issue. I want to thank Speaker Becker and a number of local electeds who are here with us today. Mayor Pat Quinn, several members of Broomfield City Council, Heidi Henkel, Lori Anderson, and Stan Jazierski, Representative Matt Gray, and of course Lieutenant Governor Diane Primavera. We're actually not too far from her home in her former legislative district, and she's doing an amazing job as Lieutenant Governor. And as Lieutenant Governor knows, clean air is part of saving people money on health care, because it's about our health, it's about less asthma, it's about lower cancer rates, and clean air is an important part of that. By signing this bill into law, we're establishing an air quality enterprise, which conducts science-based air quality monitoring, assessment, analysis, and work so that we can make sure that we have good air quality here in Colorado. This bill is incredibly important. Protecting our air quality is synonymous with protecting the Colorado way of life, and this bill will further in that regard. We'll begin with the sponsors, Senator Fenberg, Representative Caraveo, and Representative Jackson. If you'd like to say a few words.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you all for being here. This is an incredibly important bill because we have had a lot of conversations as a legislature about emissions, about where oil and gas drilling and other industrial activities should be, how close to people they should be, and we often are talking about the health and the air quality impacts. But sometimes we don't always know how exactly to quantify those impacts, and there is disagreement out there at times on really what the impacts can be on communities. And this is a bill that really is meant to hopefully get us much closer to answering that question once and for all, and doing it in a way that is unbiased and bases it on science and data that we all can trust and have confidence in. Senate Bill 204 is a bill that, as the governor said, is not just about climate, it's not just about air quality, but it's also about public health. We know that in this pandemic that we have been living in, that poor air quality is actually a contributing factor and increases the likelihood that someone contracts COVID-19, but also the potential severity of the disease if they do contract it. So this is a bill that has, I think, more meaning than we maybe even realized when we first started discussing it as a legislature. The other thing is this bill, I think, is personal for so many people. A lot of people look at their phone every morning to see what the ozone alert and the other air quality factors are before deciding what to do with their day. And frankly, if you look around, we often think we live in a beautiful place. This is Colorado. Of course we don't have poor air quality, but we do. You sometimes just can't see it or smell it, but it is there. We actually are not one of the best in the country. In fact, we are towards the bottom, and we are getting failing grades based on federal clean air standards. And this governor, his administration, as well as this legislature the last couple of years, really have been committed to doing our part to clean up our air, and that's why I'm incredibly excited to pass this bill. 6 months ago, I did the craziest thing of my life, and that is I had a child. And my child, Isa, was born, and of course, the moment you have a child, everything changes, and all you want to do is take care of her and take care of the world that she is entering into. She actually had a respiratory issue, and we spent about a week in the NICU. And that's when this bill became personal for me, just like it has for so many other families and so many other individuals. And so this is a bill that is not just for Isa, but hopefully for all of us, so we can have confidence that we are living in a state that takes care of our most vulnerable and ensures that future generations can enjoy the state in the way that it has been. I also want to thank the scientists that really helped guide this bill and point out what are the things that we are lacking on, what are the things that we do well on, and how can we improve? Delev Helmig, of course, thank you for your advice, your expertise, and willingness to talk to somebody that has really no background and dumb down your incredible science and expertise to someone that basically has a 4th grade level of science like myself, can understand, follow, and put it into policy. So thank you so much for the organizations that helped get this bill passed. Thank you to CDPHE for being the in-house experts that really helped us get this across the finish line with all of your support. So thank you, Governor, for signing this bill. It's an incredibly important one, for sure.
Hey everybody! Yes, it is a beautiful day. Yes, hopefully we have clean air to breathe. You know, Senator Fenberg was talking about how this bill is deeply personal to him. It is also deeply personal to me. This is my state. I grew up here. I care about everybody in every corner of this state. And growing up, I watched that brown cow grow and grow and grow. You all know, because I'm sure that you've seen the research, the people who are impacted disproportionately by what's happening to all of us right now, COVID-19, are communities of color. The morbidity rate for African Americans is much, much higher. We also know, because we do have the facts, that poor air quality contributes to that morbidity rate, to how deadly COVID-19 is. And here we all stand with these masks on, and people are dying. This bill will offer all of us some truths as to the quality of the air that we're breathing. And I'm very, very proud to have been able to co-sponsor this bill with Senator Fenberg and Representative Caraveo. And I thank all of you for all of the work that you've done, because we don't do this stuff alone. We do this with all of you. So thank you for your work, thank you for your time, and I'm very interested to learn what we're going to learn. Thanks.
Thank you to both Senator Fenberg and to Representative Jackson for asking me to be on this bill. You know, when I leave the legislature usually in May, this year not so, but I go back to clinic. And actually last year there was a rush of days where I could look out of our office and look towards the Flatirons, but I couldn't see them because we'd had some really terrible air quality days. And when that happens, I know that things are going to get tough for my patients. And I remember seeing an 11-year-old in particular who came in. It was the first time ever that he'd had trouble breathing and that he had wheezing. And I sat with his mom and went over the usual, points of his history. Did he have eczema? Did he have allergies when he was little? Did anybody in your family? And the data just wasn't lining up. Nobody in the family had had a history of any of this. And so why was he suddenly having issues with his breathing? And before I could even get to this point, his mom looked at me and said, "Do you think it's the pollution?" And I told her, "I think you're exactly right. This spate of air quality that we've had is exactly what's led to the breathing issues in your son." So when I was asked to join Senator Fenberg and Representative Jackson on this bill, I was incredibly excited, because this law that we are about to have signed by Governor Polis is going to protect those kids who I have to diagnose with asthma, who I have to write prescriptions for, so that they can have hopefully no diagnosis, but at the very least an easier time with what is a chronic illness. And so thank you all so much for the work that you put into this. And with that, I'll turn it over to the governor.
Okay, join us, the sponsors. Signing, here we go. It's officially the law. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
So I want to thank Representatives Valdez, Representative Weissman, Senator Hansen, and Senator Priola for their work on high efficiency new construction. We know the benefits of the clean energy transition, and there are so many of us who want to enjoy the benefits of cheaper, more sustainable energy. And it's really my pleasure to sign this bipartisan bill, which gives important resources to home buyers to take advantage of the benefits of rooftop solar, electric vehicle charging, and electric heating. And I'm proud to turn it over to the sponsors.
Well, thank you very much, Governor. My name is Chris Hansen, represent Senate District 31, and it's a pleasure to get this bill to your desk here in the middle of the park. This is a bill that is fundamentally about saving people money when they build a new house so that they can put in high-efficiency appliances, high-efficiency equipment, electric chargers for their vehicles, get their solar panels done all at the same time when they build the house. And we know it's way cheaper to do it when you're building the house than it is to try to come back and retrofit it later. And now every single new home buyer in the state of Colorado is going to have that choice. Every single one. That's what this bill does. It saves people money. It improves our air quality. It improves our energy efficiency. And it's a pleasure to get this into law today. Thank you, Governor.
Hello, everybody. Representative Alex Valdez. Very excited. Today is the culmination of a lot of work to get this bill done. As we know, if we're going to hit our goals on climate and clean air, we're going to have to work from both the bottom up and the top down. I feel like surrounded by all these wonderful new homes right here, it is proof that as our state grows, we can grow smart. We can give consumers the opportunity to install great options into their home to live a more efficient life, save their families money, and obviously contribute to the clean air and beautiful days like we have today. So I'd like to thank everybody who helped us get it here today, and thank you to the governor for making it law.
Hi, everybody. I'm Mike Weissman. I represent House District 36 in Aurora. I'm very pleased to join Senator Hansen and Rep. Valdez and appreciate the governor's support in signing this into law. The science fiction author William Gibson once commented that the future is already here. It's just not very evenly distributed. When we look at the technologies that are at issue in this bill, solar hot water for a house, solar electric vehicle charging, efficient electric heat pumps, those technologies are already here. We're not talking about anything science fiction, new, particularly expensive. They're out there now, and some folks can take advantage of them. As Senator Hansen pointed out, though, it is dramatically more expensive to just elect to have these options built in, as opposed to having to hire a contractor years and years down the road, open up walls, maybe do new trenching in the backyard to move wiring around. So ultimately, this is a way to take efficient technologies to save people money, save all of us energy, and just distribute them a little bit better. We think this is a common sense measure. It's a bipartisan measure. And as our state continues to grow and add a lot of new housing in the decades to come, we think this will make a meaningful difference. So again, thank you, Governor.
Here we go. Congratulations. Congratulations. I like the way you frame saving people money on the electric bill. So we're doing the next two bills together. They're both about the next two bills we're doing together. They're both about folks who live in. Oh wait, no. We're doing the hemp bill first. Then we're doing the two mobile home bills together. The hemp bill, not the mobile home bill. Hemp bill. Real quickly, legislators did great work. There's been amazing progress nationally on following Colorado's lead on industrial hemp. I have to say, moment of personal privilege, I had a little bit to do with the progress because when I was in Congress, I actually had the very first floor victory on a hemp vote on an amendment that I brought forward to allow for our institutions of higher education like Colorado State University to do industrial hemp research. That was the first time we won a floor vote on hemp. It paved the way for a farm bill that legalized hemp. And now aligning our state law, we have our Ag Commissioner, I think that's her. Is that our Ag Commissioner? Kate Greenberg is here. Our Ag Commission is, our Department of Agriculture is based right here in Broomfield, by the way. And they do a great job. And Kate Greenberg is really an inspiring leader for the future of agriculture. Hemp is part of that future. Representative McLaughlin, Representative Catlin, Senator Fenberg, and Senator Marble worked very hard on this bill, and we'll turn it over to Senator Fenberg to talk a little bit about the aligning the state and federal law on hemp.
Thank you, Governor. This is an important bill, not just for folks who want to see the hemp industry thrive, but really to ensure that our farmers and those who work in the production of hemp and all the different aspects of that supply chain know what the rules are, know what the law is, and that we are doing it in a way that is, like the Governor said, in alignment with federal law, so that we can continue to have one of the most productive, most prolific hemp markets in the country, really. And it's pretty much us versus Kentucky, and I think we're going to win, and we are right now. We're going to continue to do so if this governor keeps up with what he's doing, if the legislature keeps being a supporter of this industry and the farmers and the individuals who are part of this this market that is all over Colorado and helping out our economy. So thank you, Gov.
Congratulations. Okay. Oh, sure, let's do it.
Where's Wonderhead? Oh, you didn't.
Come on, Wonderhead. Hemp photo. Okay. Now, great job, everybody. Before we get to the mobile park, just two bills. This is really exciting. I believe that Jill Ryan is here from CDPHE. She and I were at a previous event, so she was a little late, but she wants to say a few words about the importance of clean air. I also see John Putnam is here. John, raise your hand. John heads the environmental and clean air work at CDPHE. As if being the point agency on COVID-19 wasn't enough, Jill Ryan is not taking her eye off the ball on clean air and carbon emissions, and this bill is really important for CDPHE in the future, and thanks to Senator Fenberg and the other sponsors, I think Jill Ryan wants to say a few words.
Thank you so much, Governor. Thanks, everyone, for being here today. We at CDPHE have been looking forward to this day for a long time. Although I have to admit, when I first began picturing this bill signing, I didn't expect there'd be so many masks involved. But things change, and we change with them. It's what we do to protect Coloradans, and that's what this new law does. It gives our public servants new tools and resources to ensure that every Coloradan, no matter where they live, has clean air to breathe. I want to take a moment to acknowledge the hard work and dedication of our team in the Air Pollution Control Division. You didn't complain about a lack of resources. You didn't wait to act. Instead, you did what we have come to expect from Coloradans. You innovated and you moved with passion and skill to find new ways of serving the public. You've done the hard but great work of protecting the public health and environment, and this new law reflects our state's commitment to carrying out that effort. We're going to improve air quality. We're going to improve health outcomes. And we're going to bring the Front Range into compliance for ozone pollution. And this law is going to help us do it all. This new law means more inspections of oil and gas sites across the state. It means clearing a backlog of permit applications. It means more resources for air quality monitoring and the kinds of high-quality scientific research that is the backbone of our regulatory efforts. But above all, it means happier, healthier, more prosperous Colorado, and it means a more just and equitable Colorado too. Air pollution is one of our most serious public health issues, and for too long, disadvantaged communities in our state, especially communities of color, have disproportionately suffered from poor air quality. This new law won't solve all of our air quality problems, but it's a significant investment in the health of our people and our environment. Now more than ever, it's crucial to prove that we can still solve the big problems. Minimizing air pollution is a huge challenge, but we're not backing down. We're committed to the fight, and more importantly, we're committed to winning it. I want to thank everyone involved in passing this bill today.
Okay, and we'll have everybody from 204 come up for a quick picture on that.
We'll pretend like this is 204. This is a different bill. We'll pretend that this is the one that...
There's a bunch of people down
two really important bills that help protect our residents of mobile home parks. Representative Hooten, I want to applaud your work on both these bills. She was joined on these bills by Representative Gonzalez Gutierrez, Senator Moreno, and Senator Janal on the right to purchase bill. On the Mobile Home Park Act bill update, she was joined by Representative McCluskey, Senator Fenberg, and Senator Lee. You know, mobile home owners and those who are economically at risk are really those most affected by the COVID-19 crisis, most affected by loss of income, loss of work in the service industry. And these two bills help make sure that they have a greater likelihood of being able to stay in their own home, in many cases the only home they've known, and really do a lot to advance the interests of our residents of mobile home and mobile home parks across the state. And I'm proud to turn it over to my state Representative Edie Hooten.
Thank you, Governor, and thank you everyone for being here. I have to say it's really exciting to be here for the signing of House Bill 1196 and 1201. There were hundreds of bills to be signed after a challenging legislative session, and the governor, as most of you know, has very few days in which to do that. So let me say first and foremost how much the mobile home owners and stakeholders appreciate that you, Governor Polis, created this opportunity for a formal bill signing. It's a reflection of the value you place on this legislation, and we are grateful to you for understanding. It's important to remember that mobile homes are one of the last types of unsubsidized affordable housing in Colorado and across the country. I don't think anyone would argue with the assertion that now more than ever we must do everything possible to keep people in their homes. For decades, lawmakers tried to find a way to minimize the inequities between mobile home owners and park owners who own the ground beneath their homes. Senator Raleigh Heath of Boulder and Senator John Kafalis of Larimer County were champions at the legislature for homeowners, but obstacles for finding a legislative solution were elusive. Refusing to be undeterred, the Colorado mobile homeowners asked the Department of Regulatory Agencies to investigate whether or not licensing park owners would result in greater compliance with the Mobile Home Parks Act. The Park Act outlines the rights of homeowners and park owners and has been law since 1980. After a year of investigation, the Department of Regulatory Agencies issued a report stating that licensure of park owners would not result in greater compliance, but that an enforcement mechanism of the Mobile Home Park Act at the state level very likely would. That was the genesis of the Mobile Home Dispute Resolution and Enforcement Program, which is signed by the Governor Polis last year and is up and running in Colorado's Division of Housing. This was a huge milestone for homeowners and park owners alike, as they both have access to the dispute resolution program. But homeowners, cities, counties, and advocacy groups felt that more work needed to be done. So this year we came back with two additional pieces of legislation, which are before the governor today. I need to give a special shout out to Michael Pierce and Renee Hummel, mobile homeowners from Boulder who were instrumental in crafting the language for both bills, and also to 9 to 5 Colorado. Ceci and Dre are here for the yeoman's efforts in getting these bills passed. In brief, House Bill 1196 provides greater protections for mobile homeowners from eviction. It gives homeowners 90 days to sell their home if faced with an eviction, or come into compliance with park rules and regulations before their landlord can evict them. It's important to acknowledge and thank Colorado's mobile home park owners for their good faith efforts in working with us on both these bills, which got them to a neutral position. And I'll say some brief remarks about House Bill 21 and then recognize my colleagues. So House Bill 21, which the governor referred to, allows homeowners 90 days to organize and make an offer to the park owner if the community goes up for sale. Colorado's Division of Housing and the municipality where the park is located would also receive 90 days notice of the sale, giving local and state agencies a greater ability to assist homeowners who may want to buy their park. National and local nonprofits exist to support homeowners who want to own their community and manage it themselves. In addition to grants from Colorado's Division of Housing, there are national and local nonprofits who assist mobile homeowners in securing funding to purchase their community and provide them with a template on how to effectively manage them. This is a great opportunity for homeowners while keeping park owners financially whole in the negotiation process. A win-win for everyone. So I'll close by saying how deeply gratifying it was to work on these bills with my committed co-sponsors in the House, Representatives Julie McCluskey and Serena Gonzalez Gutierrez, and those in the other chamber, Senators Fenberg, Lee, Janal, and Moreno. And thanks again to the governor and to all who are able to be here today and those who are watching live. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor. Thanks everyone for being here, and a special and very sincere thanks to my compatriot, the amazing Representative Edie Hooten, who's been a champion for our mobile homeowners for as long as I've known her, which hasn't been long enough. But for many of you out in our communities, you know what a fierce fighter she is. I also want to raise up the many stakeholders that I've come to know and work with, our friends at 9 to 5, CCLP, and many of the county leaders and city leaders who have said, you know, we want to see something better for our residents. I come to this work very sincerely and with great authenticity. I heard the voices of families from Leadville, Colorado, long before I was elected, concerned about their living conditions in their mobile home park. And while I may be the only rural legislator here today, I will tell you that mobile homes are pervasive in rural Colorado and one of the key ways that we provide housing for families. You know, the saying is, home is where your heart is. And it doesn't matter if you live in a tent, a mobile home, or one of these beautiful houses. Wherever you are, that's where you build your memories, where you share times with your family. And I am so proud that we've leveled the playing field with both House Bill 1196 and 1201 to make sure that mobile home owners and mobile home park owners are treated fairly through the process. So thank you, everyone. I'm excited to be here today. Thank you, Governor Polis, for your exemplary leadership and for your support of this issue.
I'll keep this brief. I just want to thank the governor for signing these bills, for really, first and foremost, for Edie Hooten for being the ringleader of this agenda in a lot of ways for the last couple of years. And she really has done an amazing job to provide more protections, more, I guess, a big fan of mobile homes, and ensure that people are have dignity and are able to stay in their homes, even when, for instance, a park is going up for sale, or if a landlord maybe doesn't have the best interests in mind. That there are now more enforceable laws on the books about prohibiting retaliation and ensuring people get a fair shake when they're charged for utility bills in a shared park setting and things like that. So it's incredibly important. As folks said, this is some of our most affordable housing in Colorado, and we need to do everything we can to protect it, hopefully to grow it, and make sure that there are future parks that provide safe, affordable housing for families all over the state. So thank you so much, Governor, and thank you to the Voice Box to get this done over the last couple of years. Thank you.
So all these bills are important, but we're about to sign one of the most important bills of the legislative session. It's a little something called the School Finance Act, without which public education wouldn't exist. So, and I want to thank Senator Todd. And I don't know if I have any more signings with you or not, but if I do, I'll just get to extol you twice, because I want to thank Senator Todd for her, how many years? 16 years? 15? 16 years? 16 years of service to our state, culminating this year, of course, in running the School Finance Act as she has in the past, but also chairing the Education Committee. Really an inspirational leader for our state, focusing on kids, on teachers. Colorado kids and families are in a better place today thanks to Senator Todd's work, and I'm proud that her fingerprints are on one of the more difficult school finance acts that the state has had to ever do. I also want to thank Speaker Becker for elevating the School Finance Act in her role as Speaker and carrying it herself, making sure that it is fair to all considered, allows for future innovation around work, around mill levies, continues our commitment to kids of all grades, all the way from kindergarten through 12th grade. The Speaker and Senator Todd have really done an amazing job, also working with the Joint Budget Committee on writing a school finance bill that makes sure that we don't sacrifice the future of the kids of Colorado just because of a pandemic, and that our kids and our future are intact no matter what the next school year looks like. And I want to thank both Senator Todd and Speaker Becker for the work on the bill, and I'll turn it over to them.
Thank you, Governor, and thank you everyone who worked on this bill. The JVC did a ton of work to figure out what were the biggest priorities in education and what could we suspend for a year to really prioritize schools having money to just operate. And that took a ton of work, hours and hours that they put in, that ended up being a lot of part of this bill. Also, thank you to Governor Polis, because if he hadn't put $500 million of CARES Act funding directly to schools, the impacts to schools would have been even bigger this past year. And so that was really critical support that our schools have needed. Sometimes as Speaker, you don't get to do the funnest things, and carrying the School Finance Act is something that was not great this year because it involved a lot of cuts to schools because we're in this unprecedented time. But I think the work that JVC, that the governor did, and that we did on this bill to mitigate those impacts, provide as much flexibility to schools with their own budgets by prioritizing education funding in our budget overall, and in this bill really will go a long way to help students across Colorado. It was fantastic working with Senator Todd. I really enjoyed it. We collaborated so well, and it was an absolute pleasure. And I am thankful. I think the people of Arapahoe County are very thankful for her 16 years of work to help kids and schools and support teachers. So thank you.
Well, hello. I'm Senator Nancy Todd from Arapahoe County, Aurora, and this is my 16th year, and Governor, I do believe it is my final bill signing. And so it's a wonderful place to be and a beautiful Colorado day. And school finance is one of the toughest issues because you want to make sure that all of our districts across the state are given an equal amount of money to make sure that every child is given the same opportunities of learning and the same quality opportunities of being able to grow into their full potential. This year, school finance was the ugliest school finance bill in the history of Colorado. The ugliest meaning we had to make some tremendous amounts of cuts. We had to try to look at ways that we could make sure that we were keeping the majority of the cuts away from children and in the classrooms. And because of that, working with Speaker Becker, working with JBC, it felt like we had really worked on it all session, even before we took our break and then came back. And it was a matter of really trying to make sure that we had the highest integrity of looking at and working for each and every child in the state of Colorado. It has been my highest honor to be able to serve in the state of Colorado, both in the House and in the Senate and on the Education Committee. And as a former teacher of 25 years, I feel like this was my next career, and it was a great opportunity to continue teaching and learning and having a touch on children in the state of Colorado. So I thank you very much, and Governor, thank you for making this possible for us to have the signing today.
Congratulations, everybody. Really great work. Thank you to all of our legislators and others of the agencies and legislative staff who are with us. And thank you, everybody, for coming out to Broomfield for some really important steps forward for the future of Colorado. Thank you.